Completing the square method. Here are the steps to follow when using the completing the square method. Get the equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. Take the constant term across to the right hand side of the equation. Divide throughout by a to make the coefficient of x squared equal to 1. Half the coefficient of x, square the result and add the square to both sides of the equation. Factorize the left hand side of the equation. It will now be of the form, open your bracket, x plus k, close your bracket squared, where k is a constant. Take the square root on both sides of the equation. The left hand side will become x plus k. Remember to write a plus or minus in front of the square root on the right hand side. Take the constant k across to the right hand side. Calculate the roots where one root takes the positive and the other root takes the negative in the part plus or minus part of the solution. 2016. Solve the equation x squared plus 2x equal to 7, giving your answers correct to 2 decimal places. So we are going to take it step by step. This question already had 1 as the coefficient of x squared and the constant was already on the right hand side. So what we are going to do is to just get half of this b, which is a 2, and then square it. After squaring it, we are going to introduce it on both sides. Half of 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1. So we are going to say x squared plus 2x plus 1 squared equal to 7 plus 1 squared. Factorize what is on the left hand side. You are going to get, open your bracket, x plus 1, close your bracket squared, equal to 7 plus 1. Then to get rid of this squared, we have to introduce the square root on both sides. When we introduce the square root on both sides, that squared will go. So we are going to remain with x plus 1. When you add 7 plus 1, you get 8. The square root of 8 is plus or minus 2.83. We'll transpose this one. It will become a negative on the right hand side. So we are going to have x equal to plus or minus 2.83 minus 1. Our first value of x will be positive 2.83 minus 1. And our second value of x will be negative 2.83 minus 1. Therefore, x equal to positive 1.83 or x equal to negative 3.83. 2017. Solve the equation 2x squared equal to 6x plus 3, giving your answer correct to 2 decimal places. So what we are going to do is to transpose the 6x from the right to the left and it will become a negative. So we are going to say 2x squared minus 6x equal to, leave the constant on the right hand side. From here, we'll divide the whole equation by 2 so that our x squared has a coefficient 1. When we divide everything by 2, we'll remain with x squared minus 3x equal to 3 over 2. From here, we'll get half of b, which is that negative 3. We'll get half of that negative 3 and then square it. When we square it, we'll introduce it on both sides. It will look like that. So, when we factorize what is on the left, we are going to have, open your bracket, x minus 3 over 2, close your bracket squared, equal to negative 3 squared is 9, 2 squared is 4. So we have 3 over 2 plus 9 over 4 on the right. We are going to solve this equation and then we introduce the square root on both sides to get rid of that power 2. It will look like that. So if you solve 3 over 2 plus 9 over 4, you get 15 over 4. From here, that squared will go. Find the square root of 15 over 4. Divide 15 over 4. First, we'll convert the 15 over 4 into a decimal. It's going to give us 3.75. From here, we are going to find the square root. The square root of 3.75 is plus or minus 1.936. We'll move the negative 3 over 2 to the right. It will become a positive. 3 over 2 is the same as 1.5. So our first value of x will be equal to 1.936 plus 1.5. And our second value of x will be x equal to negative 1.936 plus 1.5. Therefore, x equal to 3.44 or x equal to negative 0.44. 2018. Solve the equation. We have 3x squared minus x minus 5 equal to 0. Giving your answers correct to 2 decimal places. What we are going to do is to move this negative 5, which is a constant, from the left hand side to the right hand side, and the sign has to change. It will look like that. From there, we have to have a coefficient 1 where there's x squared. We'll divide the whole equation by 3. It will look like that. So after dividing the whole equation by 3, we are going to get half of negative 1 over 3 and square it. When we square it, we introduce it on both sides. From there, factorize what is on the left. You are going to have open your bracket, x minus 1 over 6, close your bracket squared, which will be equal to 5 over 3. If you square negative 1, you are going to get a 1. 6 squared is 36. It will look like that. Introduce the square root on both sides, but first simplify that fraction. So common denominator here is 36. 5 over 3 plus 1 over 36 is the same as 61 over 36. That power 2 will go. 61 over 36 as a decimal is the same as 1.694. The square root of 1.694 is positive or negative 1.301. We'll transpose the negative 1 over 6 to the right. It will become a 1 over 6, which is positive. 1 over 6 is the same as 0.67. So our first value of x will be positive 1.301 plus 0.67. And our second value of x will be negative 1.301 plus 0.67. Therefore, x will be equal to positive 1.47 or x will be equal to negative 1.13. 2019. Solve the equation 13 minus 9x minus 5x squared equal to 0, giving your answer correct to 2 decimal places. The first thing we are going to do is to move that constant positive to the right, and the sign will change. It will look like that. From there, we have to have a coefficient 1 where there's x squared. So we'll divide the whole equation by negative 5. It will look like that. From here, we have to get half of b. Half of 9 over 5 is 9 over 10. Square it and introduce it on both sides. It will look like that. From there, factorize what is on the left-hand side. If you factorize what is on the left, you are going to have open your bracket x plus 9 over 10, close your bracket squared, which will be equal to 13 over 5 plus 9 squared is 81, 10 squared is 100. Simplify that fraction. It's going to give us 341 over 100. To get rid of that power 2, we introduce the square root on both sides. 9 over 10 can be changed into a decimal. It is the same as 0.9. So from here, that power 2 will go. X plus 0.9 will be equal to the square root of 341 over 100 is equal to plus or minus 1.847. We'll transpose the 0.9 from the left to the right. It will become a negative. So our first value of x will be x equal to positive 1.847 minus 0.9. And our second value of x will be equal to negative 1.847 minus 0.9. Therefore, x equal to positive 0.95, or x is equal to negative 2.75.